DeWanna Bonner in the hot seat after saying what she stated last night in her press conference, man. I can't lie, it does look like some hypocrisy going on.
DeWanna Bonner continues to take shots at the Indiana Fever and the Fever fans. I think it's absolutely disgusting.
I wouldn't change a thing. Those 6 words from DeWanna Bonner didn't just sting. They expose a $200,000 betrayal so brazen. It redefines athlete entitlement. This wasn't gratitude. This was a victory lap after leaving an entire franchise and its fans. The moment she said it on ESPN, jaws hit floors coast to coast. How does a veteran player vanish mid-season after cashing every check, flee to Phoenix, and play the victim?
I wouldn't do anything differently. I think my journey is my journey and I'm going to accept that. It carried me to where I am in Phoenix and it happened that way for a reason. I mean, really, that is a wild statement.
You stole that money from Indiana. You signed up for that bread and didn't deliver. You didn't show up for work. You made up bullcrap excuses to not be at work.
Buckle up, this unravels deeper than you imagined. Let's rewind the receipts. Bonner signed a max deal with Indiana Fever. $200,000 guaranteed. A commitment that should have anchored the franchise for years. Fans erupted in cheers, envisioning her veteran leadership guiding young stars like Caitlin Clark. Jerseys flew off shelves as Indianapolis embraced her arrival. For months, those automatic paychecks cleared while she contributed a laughable 7 measly points per game. Statistics unbefitting a player of her pedigree and paycheck.
Came over here. She signed a max contract. She knew Phoenix didn't have the bread. She got 80 here and went and got the rest over there. I think it's trash.
I wouldn't do anything differently. You took 80 grand from the Indiana Fever. You could have just signed. Like, that's one of the things, like, I don't understand why you take these interviews. I don't understand why someone would take an interview and say that, when the reality is that all you did was took a whole bunch of money from a team to not.
Then, poof, 5 consecutive games vanished without warning. The official reason? Vague, personal matters. But locker room whispers painted a different picture. This wasn't family crisis or health emergency. It was a calculated exit strategy timed perfectly with Phoenix's roster opening. Behind the scenes, she'd already orchestrated her soft landing in the desert, while Fever accountants processed her final direct deposit. The sheer audacity of collecting full payment while plotting her escape chills you to the bone.
You refuse to show up to work while receiving money, while taking payment. You refuse to show up and do the job. And let's be clear, you wasn't even good while you was here. You was shooting threes hitting the side of the backboard.
But this is definitely going to be a part of her history, man. Because the new wave is taking over. These new fans are watching. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's going to be a part of her history, unfortunately.
She took the bread, skipped the labor, and ghosted the bakery that trusted her. And when confronted, not an ounce of remorse. Just cold, calculated careerism masked as destiny. The stats read like a crime scene report. 7.1 points, 3.8 rebounds, 1.6 assists. For a max contract veteran, these aren't just underwhelming numbers. They're an indictment of effort. But the real scandal unfolded beyond spreadsheets. Airballs smack inside the backboard like amateur hour. Layups bricked into the third row as if aiming for spectators. Defense? More like leisurely jogging, while opponents blew past her uncontested.
On a Bonner, I wouldn't do anything differently. I think my journey is my journey. I'm going to accept that. It carried me to where I am now in Phoenix, and it happened that way for a reason. It didn't happen that way for a reason. You forced yourself out of Indiana, DeWanna.
Even on nights she technically suited up, her impact was phantom level, starting just 3 of 9 games, while bench players like Lexi Hull out-hustled her nightly. Loyal Fever fans made desperate excuses. She's adjusting to the system, or give her time to gel, all while she cashed 6-figure checks with detached indifference. The truth screamed from every possession. This wasn't shooting slump or bad luck. This was deliberate underperformance.
I just don't understand this. I don't understand why DeWanna Bonner is taking these interviews at this point in time, because I'm like, look, you're in Phoenix. You've got what you wanted. You've got what everyone expected you wanted all along. Everything's gone your way. Indiana haters are going to love you because you screwed over the Fever. They're going to love you because you screwed over the Fever. Phoenix Mercury fans are going to love you. Rival fans are going to love you because you basically screwed over the Fever. Fever fans are going to hate you because you screwed over the Fever.
a professional athlete going through motions while counting days until her escape. The term sabotage feels extreme until you witnessed the footage side by side with her Phoenix revival. Then came the proof that shattered all plausible deniability. Mere days after landing in Phoenix, Bonner detonated for 22 points and 11 rebounds like flipping a light switch. Same player, same skill set. Radically different effort. Coincidence? Don't make us laugh.
First of all, the fans are the victim. The organization was the victim here. Like, why are we sitting here, she up in these articles like she was a victim, like she did, like something was done wrong? No, the fans are a victim. They welcome you with open arms. They embraced you, and you turned your back and you quit. It's that simple. You quit. You refused to show up to work. You wasn't hurt. You wasn't sick. It wasn't a personal no, you just didn't want to be on the team.
Rewind to her fever struggles. Games where she'd shoot 1 for 10 with vacant shrugs, as if unable to hit water from a boat. Fast forward to Phoenix. Suddenly she's channeling prime Diana Taurasi, hitting contested threes, driving fearlessly, grabbing rebounds in traffic. This wasn't about finding her rhythm or system fit. This was about flicking an effort switch she willfully left off in Indiana.
You came here, you stunk it up, and then you got benched. Just because you was okay with coming off the bench in another situation don't mean you was okay with coming off the bench in this situation. So I want to know what's the real? What's the real? Because you can't say, while you was here, you said, oh, I've never played in front of this many fans. You were embraced by the fans. You spoke highly of the fans while you were here. You were a starter, but you wasn't playing well. And that was nobody else's fault that you was shooting threes, hitting the side of the backboard, and you was smoking layups. And then your starting spot got took, and then all of a sudden you refused to show up to work.
The most damning comparison? Rookie Chloe BBY, fresh off college courts, outplayed Bonner's entire Fever tenure in her single debut game. While Bonner sleepwalked through possessions, BBY dove for loose balls and sank clutch shots. The contrast isn't just suspicious, it's a 5-alarm indictment of intentional underperformance. When effort magically reappears 2,000 miles west, the jury doesn't need deliberation. Remember the euphoria of her introductory press conference? Bonner beaming at the mic. "I've never felt energy like this," she gushed, hands over heart.
We gonna keep it real. Chloe Bibby, the new 7-day signee, has fit in and played better than DeWanna Bonner did anyway. Let's be clear here. Chloe Bibby came in first game, knocked down 2 threes. DeWanna Bonner first game versus the gum on the bottom of the shoe, Chicago Sky. We had to jump through hoops of fire and do all types of abracadabra magic tricks to get her to finally score to break.
These fans, wow. And they reciprocated tenfold, embracing her like basketball royalty. Sold out Gamebridge Fieldhouse thundered her name. Kids scrape allowance money for her jersey. She wasn't just a player. She was a symbol of hope for a rising franchise. Then came repayment, absenteeism masked as mystery, arrogance disguised as introspection. Now hear her Phoenix narrative. "My journey brought me here for a reason." Translation: Indiana was a temporary ATM, a pit stop to drain $200,000 before reuniting with fiancée Alyssa Thomas under Phoenix palms.
Trying to figure out, everything's changed when we add pieces, and pieces come back where you get your shots. Normally the game before, you probably won't get that same shot, and I'm just trying to figure out where you fit on this team, and it's going to take us a little bit of time to gel, so just be patient with us. We're going to be okay.
It's going to take us a little bit of time to gel. Just be patient. Oh, man. Bonner. But, man, it is crazy to hear her say that. It is crazy. Yeah, I can't hold you. The fact that now she's more so of understanding it's going to take some time to find your footing. It's, you have to be patient. Man, that's tough, Bonner. That's tough. Coming from somebody that literally gave up. You gave up on Indiana Fever, man. You should have gave it some time, Bonner.
Fans didn't just lose money on tickets and merchandise. They invested emotional currency, belief in her character, trust in her commitment. And she treated that faith like monopoly cash, worthless once the game ended. The betrayal isn't financial. It's the corpse of discarded loyalty left rotting in Indy's summer heat. Why really abandon ship mid-season? Follow the breadcrumbs through the wreckage. First catalyst, Lexi Hull's seismic emergence. The young guard, all hustle and hunger, earned Bonner's starting spot through sheer will, outworking her in practice, outperforming her in games. Bonner's response? Not competitive fire, petulant capitulation. Remember, this is a 3-time Sixth Woman of the Year. Yet she suddenly framed a bench role as career disrespect.
Lexi Hall's success and continued success in the system with Caitlin from last year, I think was the big reason that DeWanna Bonner was moved to the bench at all and kind of trying to figure that out. When I went back through last week, just kind of like poring over all of these press conferences and like public comments and like my interviews that I had done in Indiana, the thing that stuck out to me was the first day, I think, of training camp, DeWanna Bonner had mentioned like she had to catch her breath because these guys are fast.
Yeah.
It looked like you was mad that Lexi Hall took the starting.
Ignoring her own award-winning history as a reserve spark plug. Second motive, Phoenix's siren call, and fiancée Alyssa Thomas's embrace. Fever insiders confirm Bonner privately pushed for a trade weeks before her personal reasons hiatus, even as publicly pledging commitment. This wasn't about basketball philosophy or championship hunger. It was a relationship relocation, a coast-to-coast move bankrolled by Indiana's naive front office, who paid premium dollars for disengaged placeholder minutes. The math is cold but clear. Love trumped loyalty, and the Fever funded both while fans footed the bill. The Indiana Fever's management didn't just fumble the DeWanna Bonner situation. They orchestrated a masterclass in institutional failure that reverberates far beyond one player's exit. Their silence isn't neutrality, it's complicity. While Bonner shoulders blame for her unprofessionalism, the front office's passivity, poor planning, and refusal to address the chaos transformed a roster headache into a full-blown organizational crisis. Let's dissect how their actions, or lack thereof, burned $200,000, sabotaged their coach, and sent a catastrophic message to the entire league. The $200,000 sinkhole, gross financial mismanagement. Paying a veteran $200,000 for 9 games of disengaged basketball isn't just unfortunate, it's financial malpractice. Bonner's contract represented 13% of the Fever's entire salary cap, funds that could have secured 2 depth players or a rising talent. Instead, management watched their productivity nosedive. 7.1 PPG, 34.5% shooting, without intervention. Even when Bonner vanished for 5 games under vague personal reasons, leadership issued no ultimatums, demanded no clarification, and made no effort to recoup value. Their eventual decision to waive her, absorbing the full cap hit, while gifting Phoenix a playoff-ready contributor, wasn't a solution. It was surrender. By refusing to hold Bonner accountable, they signaled that contracts are suggestions, not commitments. The broken promise theory, coaching betrayal. Rumors persist that head coach Stephanie White personally guaranteed Bonner a starting role during free agency pitches. If true, this reveals a fatal front office flaw, overpromising to veterans while under-delivering on development. When Lexi Hull, a young, hungry guard, outplayed Bonner in practice and games, White rightly benched the underperforming veteran. Instead of supporting White's basketball decision, management left her stranded. No public backing. No internal alignment, just radio silence as Bonner's camp leaked dissatisfaction to media. White's post-benching quote, "It's weird seeing her on the other side," hints at the betrayal she felt. Leadership's inaction forced her into an impossible choice: prioritize accountability and lose a veteran, or enable apathy and lose the locker room. Indiana's handling of Bonner's trade demand set a dangerous precedent. When reports confirmed she had no interest in returning and wanted to move to Phoenix or Atlanta, the front office had leverage. They could have enforced fines for unexcused absences, demanded fair trade value, or at minimum, controlled the narrative. Instead, they let Bonner dictate terms. By waiving her unconditionally, they rewarded a player who skipped work while collecting paychecks, publicly undermined the team, tanked her trade value with visible disengagement. Future free agents now see Indiana as a temporary ATM, a place to secure a bag with minimal expectations. Rivals like Phoenix, meanwhile, learn they can poach talent by encouraging discontent. The Fever didn't just lose a player, they incentivized future mutinies. Fan trust, the unforgivable casualty. While Bonner became the face of the scandal, front office silence amplified fan fury. Supporters flooded social media. Fever wasted $200,000, and this front office has done a worse job than Lynn Dunn. Their anger stemmed from 3 failures. Zero transparency, no explanation for Bonner's absences, her waiver, or the $200,000 cap hemorrhage. Broken promises, marketing Bonner as a veteran leader alongside Clark/Boston, then letting her quit mid-season. Financial insult, raising ticket prices while flushing premium cap space. When fans invest emotionally and financially, they deserve honesty. Management offered crickets, then asked those same fans to buy Chloe Bibby jerseys. The ripple effect, scaring off future talent. Veterans signed with rebuilding teams for two reasons: money or legacy building. Indiana just proved it can't deliver on either. Bonner's exit screams to free agents. This franchise won't protect your role, enforce standards, or even explain why you're benched. Why would a serious contender like Natasha Howard resign here? Why would a rising vet trust White's pitch? The Fever's reputation isn't damaged, it's radioactive. Until leadership demonstrates competence, Indiana will overpay for middling talent, while stars flock to stable franchises. Pathway to redemption, rebuilding trust. This disaster demands systemic change, not PR spin. To avoid becoming a league-wide joke, the front office must admit mistakes, publicly acknowledge missteps in signing Bonner without contingency plans, empower coaches, back White's decisions visibly, no more silent treatments for tough calls, revise contracts, install behavior clauses, fines for unexcused absences, and trade protections. Engage fans. Explain roster moves transparently via town halls or detailed pressers. Indiana has the pieces, Clark, Boston, Mitchell, to contend. But without front office accountability, $200,000 won't be the last price they pay for silence. DeWanna Bonner didn't just leave Indiana, she weaponized the system, creating a step-by-step playbook for future contract manipulation that threatens the league's integrity. What unfolded in Indianapolis wasn't an isolated incident. It was a stress test of the WNBA's financial and ethical guardrails, and the results should terrify fans, players, and team owners alike. The manipulation playbook exposed. Bonner's strategy revealed a disturbingly repeatable formula. Secure the bag. Sign a high-value contract, $200,000 in Indiana's case, with minimal behavioral clauses. Ghost while getting paid. Deliver minimal effort, 7.1 ppg, 35% shooting, while collecting checks. Vanish on vague terms. Cite undefined personal reason for missing games. No proof required. Force the exit. Leverage the team's desperation to avoid dead cap space, demanding unconditional release. Revive for rivals. Immediately excel for a preferred team. 22 PTS/11 Reb in Phoenix. Proving effort was always controllable. This isn't speculation. It's a proven roadmap for stars who prioritize personal convenience over professional integrity. Phoenix's dangerous complicity. The Mercury's role in this saga is equally alarming. By signing Bonner days after her Indiana exit, they rewarded bad faith behavior, signaling that forcing your way out has zero consequences, exploited financial loopholes, paid her a veteran minimum, $78,000, while Indiana ate $136,000 in dead cap space, set a predatory precedent. Proved contenders can poach disgruntled stars by encouraging mid-season rebellions. This creates a toxic cycle. Weaken a rival's cap, bolster your roster, and call it smart business. The domino effect, how this erodes the WNBA. 1. Contract become meaningless. Bonner proved max deals are enforceable only if players choose to comply. Without behavioral penalties, signatures are suggestions, not commitments. 2. Fan trust implodes. Imagine investing in jerseys, tickets, and emotional energy for a player actively plotting their exit. This isn't just betrayal, it's a breach of the social contract between athletes and supporters. 3. Small markets become farm teams. Why would a star sign long-term in Indiana or Atlanta when they can? Collect a max contract, force an exit once bored. Join a super team without sacrificing earnings? This could create NBA-style super team monopolies overnight. 4. Culture collapse. Young players watching Bonner's revival in Phoenix learn a dangerous lesson. Effort is optional unless you're auditioning for your dream team. The solution, how the league must act. The WNBA can't afford silence. Concrete fixes are needed now. Problem solution. Vague, personal reasons. Absences mandate medical/family documentation for paid leave. No penalty for effort sabotage. Install performance-based contract clauses and fines. Dead cap space exploitation. Make new teams inherit 50% of original contract value. Lack of transparency require public statements for all mid-season exits. Just $200,000 richer, and Indiana left holding ashes. If this disgusts you, sound off below, smash that investigate Bonner hashtag. Demand the league audit this fiasco, because today it's the Fever, tomorrow it could be your team. If you made it this far, You're invested. Drop a lock her up in the comments. This can't fade quietly. Share this everywhere. Subscribe and hit notifications. We're exposing athlete scams others ignore. Your voice matters now more than ever.